Hi everyone, hello, how are you doing? I hope you are doing good. So welcome to another video of chapter 9, control and coordination. In previous video, we talked about the spinal cord and the peripheral nervous system. Also, we discussed about the reflex action. Now we move to the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, and we will also cover the different types of sensory receptors. Okay, beginning with the broad classification of the nervous system quickly. Nervous system classified into the CNS and the PNS, peripheral nervous system. CNS is brain and spinal cord, which we have finished. Peripheral again is further divided now into autonomic and somatic. Okay. We saw the other details of the peripheral nervous system, that is the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves that act as communication and that act as a communication medium between the brain, spinal cord, and different parts of the body. Now, if we divide the peripheral nervous system, you have two different categories, that is autonomic and somatic. Autonomic means self-regulated action of the internal organs, and obviously this will be involuntary mostly, and here this will be controlled voluntary movements of the skeletal muscles. So somatic, basically your body movements. Okay, again autonomic is classified into sympathetic and parasympathetic, so that is what we will be discussing in detail over here. Okay, this comes under the replay. We have discussed this in the previous video. If you have not checked it out, please check that videos out. Now moving to the sympathetic and parasympathetic. Mostly sympathetic is the arousing one, like fight or fright, and parasympathetic is opposite to the sympathetic one, calming responses over here. Okay, so let's begin. Let's first clearly define it. So with an example, sympathetic and parasympathetic, here you see the pupils which are, constricted, and here it is dilated. So the sympathetic nervous system is one of the main divisions of the autonomic nervous system. Basically, it is to stimulate the body for fight or flight response. Stimulate the body for fight or flight response. Here, again, it is for responsible for rest and digest, or feed and breed activities, relax activities. Okay, rest and digest or feed and breed. Parasympathetic uh, responses. We will see what are the responses that fall under the two. So, just in the previous video, we saw in the parasympathetic, sorry, this was constriction, and in the sympathetic, it was dilation. Okay, sympathetic, this is dilation, and parasympathetic, this is constriction. Yes, so when you have a fight or flight, response, the pupils will dilate. The pupils will dilate, and when you are the opposite of it, then the pupils will constrict. Similarly, in the sympathetic nerves, it will inhibit salivation. No salivation will happen. Whereas in the parasympathetic, saliva will start secreting. Then in the sympathetic, the nerves of the heart, nerves will cause the heartbeat to increase. As we are talking, the sympathetic are for fight or flight. Fight or fright. Yes, F and F you can say. Fright or flight. And here mostly it is relaxed rest or digestion, resting or digest for digestive purposes. So those nerves will be involved in these activities. Okay, so you can make a difference between the two. Here, the airways or the lungs will constrict. Here, it will relax. Here, the activity of the stomach will be stimulated. Here, the activity of the stomach will be inhibited. Obviously, when you are in a fight or flight condition, your stomach will cease. I mean, it will pause for a movement and it will stop digestion. So, inhibition of the gallbladder, inhibition of the intestine activity, all this will be inhibited. Whereas in this case, the rest, when you are resting, your digestive system is digesting the food. So stimulation of the gallbladder, stimulation of the stomach, and stimulating the intestine also. Yes. when you are in a flight or flight condition, there is a possibility that your bladder will be relaxed. Okay. And opposite in the rest or digestive mode, the bladder will contract. Okay. Also in the fight or flight condition, your body will secrete these hormones known as epinephrine or norepinephrine. Another word for them is flight or fright hormones. Okay. This is the major difference between the parasympathetic and sympathetic. Basically, this is just telling you what are the activities that will happen in a parasympathetic scenario and the activities that will happen in a sympathetic scenario. Okay, with respect to the nerves. Moving to the sensory receptors, these are some specialized receptors, okay, which will help in receiving the information from the external or internal environment. So sensory receptors, which are specialized structures in the body, they will receive various information, various stimulus, either from external or internal environment. Okay. So depending upon the name of the receptors, you see their function also. Phonoreceptors, okay, phone related to sound. Obviously, the location will be the ear. Then statoreceptors, again, the ear. This is basically for maintaining balance and equilibrium. Then photoreceptors, photo, eyes. So retina of the eye, located in the retina of the eye, they will do what? Receive the sensory stimuli for vision. Thermo for skin, okay, they will receive sensory stimulus regarding heat or cold. Okay, so you have these receptors. Then mechanoreceptors, again skin. This will be for touch, pain, pressure, deep pressure, etc. So thermo usually for temperatures, and this is location will be skin only. Mechano also skin only, but their function will be different. For they will either be sensitive to touch, pain, pressure, etc. Then chemoreceptors are two types: gusto and olfacto. Gusto is for taste and olfacto is for nose. Okay, so gusto receptors will be present in the taste buds of your tongue, and olfacto receptors will be present in the nose. This we have discussed time and again. So obviously, taste buds will give you sensitivity to the taste of sweet, salt, sour, bitter, etc., etc. And nose obviously sensitive to different types of smell. Okay. Moving forward, there are a few more receptors. This is the table which is there in your textbook. Then you have interoreceptors. So the earlier ones which we were discussing, those were exterior. Okay, these are interior. That is, they will receive information coming from within the body. So you have anterior receptors, which will be there in the internal body organs. They will receive information from the organs like the information coming from the internal organs like hunger, thirst, pain, changes in the osmotic balance, like that. Proprioceptors again within the body only. Where will they present? Will be they present? Remember in the previous video we were talking about the movement, proprioception related to movement. So in your joints, in your muscles, in your tendons, which are responsible for detecting changes in the movement of joints, tendons, muscles, pain and tension in the joint. Okay, vibrations, etc. And finally, you have the baroreceptor. This is basically for pressure. Now, this pressure can be also with respect to the blood pressure. Yes. So, present in the walls of the arteria vena cava, your veins, the superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, the aortic arch, the carotid sinus. These are all your blood vessels. Okay. So, they will sense the changes in the blood pressure so as to restore the balance. Okay, so they will help in changing the blood pressure, and they will try to bring the blood pressure to normal either through vasodilation or vasoconstriction, that is relaxing of the blood vessels or constriction of the blood vessels. Okay, so these are the internal receptors within the body, interoreceptors, and the earlier ones which we discussed, those are your receive external stimuli known as exteroreceptors. So that's all regarding the sensory receptors, which is there in your textbook. Now, in the next video, we will talk about eye, and then we'll talk about ear. Okay. So thank you. Because out of all these, we are in your syllabus, you have only eye and ear to be discussed in detail, structure and function of different parts of eye and ear. Thank you. Take care. See you in the next video. Bye.